Rugby is a game of passion, speed and power. Playing rugby is a great experience and a great talking point with people, and yet when asked what you do, when you answer, all you get is a glazed look of confusion. Unlike football, in which somebody naturally understands the meaning of attacker, midfielder and defender, if you say to someone you play prop or lock or outside centre, all you're doing is telling them a random selection of letters. So what I plan to do is help explain each and every position you can play across the pitch in rugby union, from the battlefield of the front row all the way to the speed machines of the wing. You will learn what it takes to play each and every position, for things like trading in diets to injury prevention and tricks of the trade.
And this sorts the men from the boys. Pause, engage! And where they go again,
massive scrum and picked up now by Morgan. He rolls, tries to get it down, but it is a penalty try, says Nigel Owens. England have their try, the forwards have their reward.
Well, that's what they were going for. They didn't want a three-pointer or even an attempt out. They wanted that.
A squad of rugby players comprises of 15 players, 8 forwards and 7 backs. The two centres wear the 12 and 13 shirts and are part of the backs. They are placed in the back line behind the fly half, with the inside centre wearing 12 and being closest to the fly half, with the outside centre wearing 13 and being furthest away from the fly half. But what is the difference between the inside and outside centre?
I think if you're going to put anything on sort of the table, say your 12s, it depends what sort of coach you are. Sometimes, majority of the time, 12's a carrier and 13's a pace man on the outside, or you'll have a ball player at 10 and 12 and a heavy carrier at 13. If you look at a team, say like Leicester, who have Toby Flood, Brad Barrett and then Manu Tuolagi at 13, so they've got the ball playing 10-12 with a carry at 13, and then you look at us, if you play George Ford, Kyle and JJ with the outside, and then you look at people like New Zealand who would play Dan Carter at 10 but Mar Nono at 12 and Conrad Smith at 13, so it's different linked, it's whatever the coach's philosophy is, if they want a gasman on the outside at 13 or inside ball player. It's the way the game goes. It's a game of chess. It's how you play it against different teams.
I'd say there's probably a big difference between inside centre and outside centre. I'd say inside centre you're probably more of a ball player, and outside centre you're probably more of an attacking threat, more with a running threat. And defensively you're quite important as well. A lot of the defensive leaders play in the centres as well. So probably those key things really. Firstly, doing what the fly half says. It's normally the fly half who calls certain plays. Normally, probably first thing to get over the game line, or sometimes run dummy lines to create space for other people. So those are the main things.
Centre is sort of, you're the middleman between when the ball gets distributed from the forwards to the half-backs to get it to the wings, either by getting over the game line to create fast balls so we can attack the space on the outside, or by passing it yourselves. And that's you're that link man between the half-backs and your finishers on the outside.
To organise forwards, to kind of be the eyes and ears of fly halves as well. They have a lot to kind of look at, so if you can see things that they can't, that kind of helps them out as well.
Massive nowadays, because you're so interlinked that you've got to be able to play both left and right side of the park, pass off both right and left. So a lot of teams will try and split their centres as soon as after first or second phase, so you can attack both sides of the ruck. And by doing this, it puts more stress on the defence, which therefore will give you more opportunities to score points.
A lot really, because you have the information come from guys outside you on the wing, and from inside, from 10s, you can have to relay all the information back to the half-backs as well. So yeah, communication-wise, quite important.
I don't actually. If anything, I prefer 13 because, like I said, I came into the game playing on the wing, so you get a bit more space at 13. I think it's harder in defence at 13 because at 12, you know, you've got the defender on your right and left when you're going up. At 13, you know you've got your 12, but your winger could be hanging back, so it puts a lot of stress on you. So you've got to make the right decision at the right time.
Yeah, definitely 13, I'd say.
Why?
As I was saying earlier, probably more of a ball runner at 13 and more a ball player at 12. So. I'd probably say 12 is, but certain people say probably the one that you don't play, you always think is probably the most difficult because you're used to playing in certain positions. So, yeah.
You need your core skills, your running, passing, kicking, catching, and if you want to be slightly different, you've got to have good footwork, good speed, and sort of good sense of direction, like communication. Like you said before, communication is a massive key now. You can have all the attributes, but at centre, if you don't put yourself in the position to make other people look good as well, you can get very lost in games. So you've got to be very vocal, as well as like a second captain or a sort of commander telling people where they need to go.
I'd probably say strength, pace, general good ball skills, and defensively good as well.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Like I said, rugby's built into different shapes and sizes, and as much as they will think about me coming at them being so big, I'm thinking about them because they'll have attributes that are better than me. Majority of the time, people who are smaller have good footwork, but not the body weight. So in defence, I need to put them in a corner where I can then go get them. When we talk about it, like don't let them get past your inside shoulder in defence and chop them down and then use your physicality. In defence, I don't want to run straight at them because you're giving them the easiest tackle. You want to try and get away from them as far as you can, which will make it harder for them to tackle because they won't have any body weight against you. Majority of the time now, 12 and 13s will train with the wingers, so we'll do a lot of speed work, a lot of power work, because you want to be sharp and sharp, explosive in all these actions that you do in the game. But as well, more so the 12 and 13 have to practice a lot the passing and kicking under pressure, because if the 12's under pressure, you're the next bailout to go out. So more so on your core skills for the 12 and 13 has to be up to or near enough the same level as your 10 as well.
Yeah, I'd say it's very, very different to a forward because they're probably more strength orientated and the wing is probably more pace. So in a way, you're kind of in the middle of both, really.
Me personally, I'm a very sort of odd eater. Like I sometimes won't eat until mid to early afternoon. There's no structure to my eating pattern, so I think that's the weakest part of me personally. If I got my diet on a good constant plane, that I'd be in a good physical position, because you're always looking to strive and gain in your sport, and I think that's the next thing for me is to put this in place. But like I said, we eat a lot of calories and it goes, whatever we put in gets burnt straight back out, so it's about putting the right stuff in.
Not really, as long as you kind of train hard it kind of balances itself out, but kind of stay off the carbohydrates really.
All the boys have different stuff they like to work on. So some boys who have had shoulder problems like to work on their shoulders. Myself personally, I like to work on my hamstrings just by doing stretch routines. We've got a hamstring group here. Twice a week we do extensive stretches because I don't want my hamstrings to tear, so I don't want them to be overly tight. So I've got to keep them stretched and loose and relaxed, so when I come into the games that I feel as good as I can. So for me it's my hamstrings I keep working on.
Well, we do certain things in the gym. We do a lot of eccentric hamstrings, which are supposed to kind of prevent hamstring injuries.
Okay.
I think every player is different. For me, warming up, I like to know that my body's moving well. Some people like the warm up to get them mentally ready, and some people just want to get out there and get it done. Everybody's individual. I'm quite a relaxed player the whole time. I could walk onto a pitch and play, but I just want to keep my body moving. I can talk to you throughout the warm up, but for me, it is every individual's different. But I'm one of those relaxed people that my job's just I've got to go there and I know my job and I can go and do it.
Definitely, I'd say probably cool down more so now. The older you get, your body kind of takes long to recover, so if you don't do a decent cool down, you really are kind of struggling the next 2 or 3 days.
At the moment, you've got to look at people who are on form. Like obviously, Matt Gitto's playing outstanding at the moment for Toulon, and he's sort of been reborn again. I'm just trying to think who's standing out. It's one of those. If you're looking at centres who are consistently performing well, you've always got to look at the Kiwis. and Marnonu, Conrad Smith, Sonny Bill, when they're all there, that they're all interchanging, but they're all still performing at the best level, and they're what everybody's thriving to be because they're world champions, and with their performances it's showing it.
There you go, the centres, the powerhouse skill masters of the backline. Keep looking out for more episodes of Scrummage where you will learn how to play every single position in rugby union.